Hey everyone, my name is Rowan, and this is my channel Galaxy Wide. Here I want to talk about things that inspire me, motivate me, just generally talk about things that I like, and explain why I like them, or at least try to explain. It's mostly going to be a confused ramble, but let's begin. I know that I'm incredibly late to the trend, like a good 2 years late, but it's kind of hard to talk about things that I like and not talk about the literal decade-long story that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Specifically, I want to follow Nando V Movies, who is amazing, and everyone who participated, new or veteran, is amazing. I want to talk about my favorite scene. A marvelous scene, if you will. Thor 2 The Dark World is a mess to say the least. I know it's one of the most disliked MCU movies to date, but when its moments between its A-list cast hit, they hit hard. I could sit here and talk about how amazing Asgard looks, or how hilarious Tom Hiddleston is acting as Loki, acting as Chris Evans' Captain America, or how creatively cool it was to have our heroes drift through the 9 realms while fighting. You know, despite the fact that we really only go through 2 and they're all colored as wet concrete, and we don't get to see any of the amazing colors that are being portrayed. It's the more somber scenes that hit home, the ones that ground our gods in the realm of us mortal Midgardians. I really do believe if we had viewed this movie with a heavier emphasis on Loki and dropped the Jane Foster and Friends bit, I don't really think Thor's stories, at least the way that they were set up within the MCU, work well like that. They're meant to be a grand adventure fantasy. As a side note, I am hyped to see if Love and Thunder will commit and give us Jane Foster as Thor. It's actually one of my favorite runs and introduces us to a lot of cool, cosmic background stuff. With all that said, the one marvelous scene I'm here to talk about today is this one.
Thor. After all this time, and now you come to visit me. Why? Have you come to gloat? To mock?
Loki, enough. No more illusions.
Now you see me, brother. Did she suffer?
I did not come here to share our grief. Instead, I offer you the chance of a far richer sacrament.
Go on.
I know you seek vengeance as much as I do. You help me escape Asgard, and I will grant it to you. Vengeance. And afterward, this cell.
You must be truly desperate to come to me for help. What makes you think you can trust me?
I don't. Mother did. And you should know that when we fought each other in the past, I did so with a glimmer of hope that my brother was still in there somewhere. That hope no longer exists to protect you. You betray me, and I will kill you.
When do we start?
This scene hits me in the heart every single time. I tear up and sniffle, its emotional impact lands, its mark hits me in my soul. It shows us a deeper look into our lovable god of mischief. It starts with this motif of music that's somewhere between ominous and whimsical. We hear the crackling of fire and Thor's heavy footsteps that contrast with Loki's light footsteps, which is our first little clue that what we see isn't real. Loki flutters his fingers behind his back, taunting his brother Thor. We hear the anger in Tom Hiddleston's voice bubble over as he accuses Thor of coming here to rub everything that has happened in this movie, the prior movie, and the movie before that. And that's actually another little clue we hear. This is Thor's first time visiting Loki since the events of Avengers. It's a good 3 years. Thor remains stalwart, unfazed by Loki's facade. He knows his brother is here to play the game, to up the ante and entertain himself. He's the god of mischief. What kind of god of mischief would he be if he didn't try and trick everyone? But Thor? Oh no. Thor isn't playing this game anymore. This isn't fun. This isn't a jaunt to another realm for glories and trophies. The Dark Elves came to his home, wrecked his palace, and worst of all, killed his mother. And if you've seen Endgame, you know that Thor's mother, Frigg, is the only one to bring him out of his painful depression. And for the first time in a long time, probably for the first time in their entire 1500-year stint on this realm, Loki drops his facade, and the curtains are pulled back. We see inside the mind of the trickster. The furniture is thrown all across the room, broken and splintered. The mirror that Loki couldn't stand to see himself in, the very man who let his mother die, is shattered. Something we can only assume is a book is shredded and torn from its bindings. Ink-coated hand marks are scraped against the wall, and a child's furious temper tantrum. And there he is, slumped against the wall, broken, damaged, unwashed, disheveled. And he says the line that pierces my heart. "Now you see me, brother." Thor paces around to get a better view. As he does so, our curiosity is piqued, plucked just like the strings of a gorgeous soundtrack. Thor announces his plan of revenge, and Loki mulls it over, and doubts it. There's no way his brother is going to let him out of the cell and tag along in a brotherly revenge mission. We can see the gears in his head turning, trying to comprehend how and why Thor is this desperate, why he would ever trust him, and the reason, the whole point of this scene. Loki wasn't and never was Laufey's son. He left him alone in the cold to die. Loki wasn't and never was Odin's son. He didn't have the son of Odin last name. But he was Frigg's son, the little boy ousted and looked down on, the boy who she would share her teachings of magic to. Loki's real name should have been Loki Friggason, the only person left who still trusted Loki. And through this mutual bond of anger and love, they agree to work together. But much like their mother, that brotherly quarrel love isn't around anymore. There's nothing connecting them anymore, and Thor reminds him of this. And true to his mischievous mind, Loki attempts and begins his plan to escape. That's why I love that scene. It packs so much in so little. The clip is, 2 minutes long? And just with those 2 minutes, we get this wonderful, moving, complex, but simple short story that even without any Marvel Cinematic Universe context, holds its own weight. Hey, I know this one was a little bit on the smaller side. There's only so much I can dissect with a 2-minute clip, but I hope you enjoyed it just the same. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this. Your support is so important to growing this channel. So give me a like or leave a comment if you enjoyed it. And if you want to hear more of my confused ramblings, you can click that little red button down at the bottom to subscribe for more content.